Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the HamCorp training manual. In this episode, we finally get around to setting up large gas turbines and large combustion engines to burn nitrobenzene and high-octane gasoline. One of these is better than the other. This episode is gonna just be a bunch of structural improvements, I think. I'm gonna refactor the passive chemicals area to use multiblocks for everything, or nearly everything. I'm gonna get this going again, I don't know why this stopped. And power. I'm actually gonna make a bit more power. Something I've been slacking on, kind of. Like, not really. I made 2 more magnets, which is severely affecting my frame rate when I'm in this room, but I now have 4 full-sized neodymium magnet spinny boys, which is fine. As you can see, my storage is full, so it's not like I'm using it. But if my EBFs and vacuum freezers are going, then yes, it does go down. And if it's a big enough craft, then this does indeed empty, and that is a problem. Now, if you remember, in the oil area, I've been making benzene, and I've been making hog, and I have not been burning either of them. I think I should, especially because now that I'm an EV, I can actually make the large combustion engine. This lets me burn the hog. It's relatively weak compared to the gas turbine in Star Technology, but I still want to do it, because otherwise, why did I make hog, you know? Speaking of gas turbine, this is going to be really good. These things are insane in this pack. Like, here, look at the description, right? Each rotor holder above EV adds 10% efficiency and multiplies EU per tick by 2. That's exponential scaling as you tier up. That's insane. It also does, of course, mean exponential fuel consumption, but that's fine. As for the rotors, I need to investigate their stats and stuff. Where's the holder? Here it is. But the lowest tier one is an EV rotor holder, so I can make this now, and I should. And then I'm going to start burning the benzene. I should maybe consider turning it into nitrobenzene first. This is very much possible right now, as far as I can tell. I just need nitration mixture and distilled water, which shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, mixing recipe with nitric and sulfuric. Totally doable. And in fact, I need nitration mixture for other stuff anyway, so I'll add that to my list of passive chemicals. Maybe I set up polybenzimidazole. Is this an IV recipe? It is, but that means I can do it now. But should I? I don't know. I might do it to pad out the episode. Crazy reason to do the whole PBI line. But the priority now is to refactor what I have, deal with my low frame rate somehow. I don't know how, but I will. And actually start burning my fuel. Ooh, actually, I do have a bit of a power problem. Look at this. The super tank's going down. It's really slow. Super duper slow. But it is going down. And I don't think it's a production issue. I think it's literally that this basin and mixer are no longer able to keep up. So my consumption rate is now beyond the max production rate of a single mixer and basin. But now also there's no ethanol, so maybe... I don't know, there's bottlenecks here is the point. Maybe it's the fermenters actually. But it doesn't matter, because I'm going to start off by making the large combustion engines. And this quest being locked behind the others kind of hurts. I wish that if I made this, it just auto-completed the previous 3, but I don't think it does. So I'm just going to make one of the other ones. It's whatever. It's like not that expensive. It's just a bit annoying, but it's fine. I've just set up nitration mixture in this mixer. Pretty easy. And I've set up both distilled water in this distillation tower. Technically, distillery single blocks would be faster, but I don't want to use single blocks. And a nitrobenzene LCR. This also makes diluted sulfuric acid, which I'm just going to trash because it has no use besides recycling, and I'm not really short on sulfuric acid, so it doesn't matter. So this converts my benzene into nitrobenzene, which is much more fuel dense, 1280 EU per millibucket compared to benzene's 352 EU per millibucket, and that means I have my fuel sorted out. In addition, I've made 16 Enderium turbine rotors. These are very high durability, very high power, very high efficiency, and probably the best I can make at the moment. And I've made 16 large combustion engines and 16 large gas turbines. Now, where to set these up? Probably just over here on the roof of this power building, I guess. Bring in AE2 connection. Oh, there already is one. Just bring it up to the roof. I did leave this flat on purpose because I expect it to have like a wall of turbines here. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm also finally going to get around to making flux dust and flux networks. I should have done this as soon as I could, but I've just been kind of lazy to learn something new. Anyway, flux dust is made with redstone and lava, so I had to set up my stone barrel. It's just processing a ton of cobblestone right now. It's an EV LCR recipe, so I could have done this in HV, but I just didn't. With this flux dust, I can make 3 things, or 4 things, I guess. The flux controller, which allows me to wirelessly charge myself. Finally, I no longer have to recharge my jet boots or my AE terminal, which I've been doing until now, by the way. Very annoying. I also get flux points, which are output nodes of the flux network, so I can power machines with this, or energy hatches, and flux plugs, which are input nodes. So the outputs of my generators, my combustion engine and gas turbine are going to go into flux plugs. To store the energy, I need flux storage. There's basic, not interested. There's Herculean, not interested. And there's gargantuan, interested. Each one is just made from the previous tier plus a bit of glass. And the most basic one is made with flux blocks, which are made from flux dust, and flux cores, which are also made from flux dust, and obsidian and enderise. So I'm going to pattern everything up. I'm going to get my flux controller, my flux plugs and points, and my storage. And this probably means my redstone flux cells can go, and also my laser IO network for power can go, because this is going to hold me over until the substation, or the Lapatronic supercapacitor, whatever you prefer to call it. Anyway, I'll be back when it's time to set up machines. Oh boy, I need a lot of lava, and this thing is not keeping up. But remember when I made this thing and I said, maybe this will come in handy later? Now's the time. Industrial barrel. This makes 10 buckets of lava per 10 seconds at EV. That's pretty good. That is way better than what I'm doing right now, which is half a bucket of lava every 10 seconds. So yeah, I'm gonna set that up. Probably gonna have to go in the chemicals area as well. This place is getting kind of messy. It's not very well organized. Anyway, that's probably for later in the episode for me to deal with. I'm gonna set that up over here. Okay, construction is done, as well as partial wiring. First of all, I want to say, yes, I know, you can wall share this layer, but it looks hideous, and I'm not poor, so I decided to just not wall share it, because this looks so much nicer. I'm gonna decorate this, don't worry. But first, I need to talk about how everything is wired up. In the back, I've opted to use flux plugs. It doesn't look like they connect to the dynamos, but I've been told that they do. So these will accept power from dynamos, and this is really easy to upgrade. There's no cables to replace, I just swap out the hatch, that's it. For the combustion engines, I have interfaces stocking oxygen, lubricant, and hog, and quad input hatches with auto pulling on. So it pulls the first 4 fluids that it sees, which is nice. I kind of expected it to only pull the first fluid that I could see, but it does pull all 4, or all 3 in this case. So this is running. This stops running when the dynamo hatch is full, like it is right now. So none of this is being wasted. So there's no on-off logic that needs to happen here. But for these, for the gas turbines, there is some on-off logic that needs to happen because there is a spin-up time. It needs to get to full speed before you get the full power out. You still get power along the way. I think it just increases linearly from 0 to 6,000, but I don't want to be burning nitrobenzene for 1 EU per tick. So I'm gonna have to do a bit of redstone logic here to make sure that this only turns on when I need it to turn on, which is when my power storage is like 25% full or less. And then I'll have it turn off when it's over about 85%. That's the only reason this hasn't been plugged up yet, is because I need to implement that redstone logic first, which I will do soon. But I wanted to show off the flux plugs, flux points, and the controller first. To actually set things up, you need a controller. You need to set up a network. I've made my own network here. For wireless charging, you can choose what parts of your body you want to charge, and I've chosen to charge my armor and my curios. So my boots will get charged, and my crafting terminal will get charged. It's not getting charged right now because I don't have any power flowing into the network. On the network connection screen, you can see everything that's connected. Right now I have the controller itself, and I have the flux point. Statistics is just a graph. Members, I don't know how this works. I'm playing single player on a local server, so I don't care. And color. This is just cosmetic. Now to connect up something to the network, for example this flux storage, it's really simple. You just go to network selection and you select the network. And now in network connections, you can see that it's shown up. Because I need to go around my base rewiring everything, I don't want everything to just stop working while that happens. So as an intermediate band-aid solution, I put a flux point on my existing storage, which is maybe a bit weird, but it's fine. This works. And all I have to do now is connect up each of these flux plugs to the network. Like that. And now we're filling up storage. I don't know if there's a better way to do this than just sort of manually, one by one, but it's not that many. It's only like 32 of these. It's fine. And that's pretty good. Look at this. Power's coming in at 400,000 FE per tick. I wish I could just see EU because I don't really care about FE, but it's just divided by 4, so it's like 100,000 EU per tick. Which for comparison, I think I used to make 29.5k EU per tick. And this is just the combustion engines. I don't even have the gas turbines on yet, and I'm pretty sure the gas turbines are significantly stronger than the combustion engines. Let me get this redstone logic in place. I'll be right back. Alright, hooked up. This is actually a lot more powerful than I thought it was. I had to swap out my 4 amp energy hatches for 16s, and I had to make battery buffers because I didn't know how else to route this redstone signal. So as far as I can tell, the Flux network storage itself cannot be used to directly get a redstone signal to turn these machines on and off. So the base output of these machines is 4096 EU per tick. Every tier of dynamo hatch that you increase this by, that doubles. That number is multiplied by the bonus based on the rotor. Ow. Well, I can't access it while it's running. In my case, I'm using Enderium rotors, which have 300% power. So I make 12,000 EU per tick, which is more than 4 amps of EV each. So I had to replace them with 16s. But it's actually 6 amps of EV. There's no 8 amp dynamo, so the smallest I could use is a 16. Anyway, each of these is making 6 amps of EV that goes into this extreme voltage battery buffer with a bunch of Lapotron crystals. Yes, this took a while to make. These buffers are facing the actual plugs to store stuff into my power network. And on top of these battery buffers, and this is the reason I have buffers at all, is an advanced energy detector. This acts as an RS latch. So you set a minimum and a maximum percentage, and when the energy in this battery buffer is less than the minimum, things turn on, and things will stay on until it crosses the maximum, where they turn off. And then it will stay off until you cross the minimum again. So the machines are only on during like the charging phase of that cycle, which is exactly what I want. To get the redstone signal around, I have laser nodes here. I have redstone cards set to insert mode, which I think is the opposite of how it is for energy cards, which really bothers me. But I have this set to insert, and then these ones are set to extract or output or whatever. And that's what sends the signal into the gas turbine. And on the front face of the gas turbine is a machine controller set to inverted. It says normal, but it's inverted. So yeah, that's how this works now. Things are now charging. I think this storage buffer is actually enormous. I think it's way bigger than I thought it was at first glance, because it's still filling. This has been burning for, I don't know, like an hour or more. Or at least the hog has been burning for like an hour or more. But yeah, this thing is only like 25% full, if that. And now I make 200,000 EU per tick. That's pretty good. And I have, what is this, 7.5 billion EU stored? I'm just dividing by 4. That's a lot. Cool. Frame rate down, power up. Now it's time to decorate this. I think I'm gonna do something pretty simple for now, to be honest. Okay, maybe it's a little bit more than just a simple build, but it's pretty nice, I think. I have noticed that some of these rotors are off, and I've investigated why. And one thing I forgot to configure with the Flux storage here is to bypass limit. So actually, I was capping myself a lot. Bypass limit basically sets the transfer limit to infinity. These are still off because the buffers in the back have to drain first before they turn back on. Now that should be solved. These should be emptying. Yes, they are. Kind of slowly, but that's just because this is doing 16 amps of EV, and that's how fast this is. This is just a really big buffer. I officially consider power generation solved for basically until fusion, I would guess. Maybe I need more. So I left the top of the building over here kind of plain so I could dig it up easily if I needed more gas turbines. But I don't think I'm going to be spamming more hog burners because there's kind of no point. They're so much weaker. Each one of these is about 3 amps of EV, and each one of these is 6. So each one of these is twice as good, and I don't need to blow all my titanium on it. So perhaps combustion will get buffed in the next update. Anyway, 400,000 EU per tick is pretty good. That's almost 1 amp of UV. I'm in EV, by the way. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will refactor the chemicals processing area and give it a building. It's currently quite a mess. The HamCorp Training Department acknowledges that training videos have been slower lately. This is what we call rationing. There's only so much left for me to do before the data updates changes make our teachings outdated. I hope you understand. See you next time.